Hi guys, so today I am showing you how I did these nails right here on the screen for the summer, summer vibes. So I am starting with these short square nail tips right here. I'm finally changing up my shape. You guys, well, I don't know if you guys know, but I always use medium almond, but gotta change it up a little bit. So for this nail, I am using this very dark or sandy color because that's going to be the color of my sand. I went ahead and did, I believe, like 3 layers of this. I cured the first and second layer, but for the third layer, I left it uncured. And I'm grabbing this clear acrylic powder and I'm adding it to my uncured gel layer. It's very important that you do not cure it or else it's not going to stick to the nail. So right here, I'm trying to do it very lightly just so I don't have clumps of acrylic. But I should have added a lot more, mainly because later on it's not going to show as well. But I just patted the excess and that's it. Now it's still not cured. So with a ballpoint, a dotting tool, I'm just adding a little circle because I want this to be like a smiley face sun, for the beach. And so right here I am adding some lines, and it's very important that you clean your little tool, whatever tool you're using, in between lines and strokes so it doesn't clump up and mess up your lines and stuff. So right here at the top it looks like I didn't really add much, but I did. So that's what I'm saying. It's very important for you to add enough acrylic powder just so when you're doing your drawing on your nail it looks like it shows up, because right here it's not showing up. But anywho, and after that, I cured it for 60 minutes and it ended up looking like this. I meant to say 60 seconds. I'm so sorry. Now, for these nails, I am going to show the inspiration that I drew up here. And so that's what I'm trying to follow. It's kind of like a scenery nail. So for right here, I am I'm adding the shoreline, really. So it's like half of a sand and then the other is the beginning of the ocean. So I'm doing the same technique for this nail, just making a squiggly line for the shore. And so I'm curing my first and second layer, and my third layer I'm leaving it uncured, and I'm adding clear acrylic powder again, like so. Now for this one I added a lot more, and you can tell the difference later on when I start drawing onto the nail. But I think it's important to use clear and not white, mainly because it's probably gonna look powdery, but I'm not sure to be honest with you. So right here I wanted to add some footprints like on my drawing, and I used the dotting tool as well and cleaned in between the little feet, I guess. But they ended up kind of looking like bear paws. I'm not complaining though. I think they were pretty cute. Just like a walk on the shoreline on the beach and stuff like that. So right here, it's not cured, of course, just so you are able to draw. And then after I finished everything, I decided to cure it, and this is a little close up of what it looked like. So now continuing, I am adding this milky gel only on the part where there's no acrylic, so on that little clear part. And I'm going ahead and curing, and I am adding some blooming gel onto the same part, making sure to not cross my line to the acrylic part. And so I don't cure that blooming gel, and I just start adding some little blue dots, different shapes and different sizes. So this is gonna be like the little puddles or sections of water in the ocean, you could say. That's what I was trying to go for, and so I cured that, and I did another layer of the white gel, and I cured that, and then after that I added more blooming gel. See, it's a lot of steps. So here is where I'm thinking of maybe using a different technique, because I added the second layer of the blue dots and it looks like really washed out, like it doesn't really look like water. So right here I am adding the more texture, kind of like adding that sea foam that's on top of like water at the beach, so it looks more like the ocean instead of like a pool or like just marbled blue. And I'm not saying it doesn't look good, but it just wasn't what I was trying to go for. I was trying to go for like a summery beach right here, like on a picture right here that I drew up. So I just decided to add these little lines, kind of like following the shapes that the little blue dots made. And then the key to this to work is I am making the lines different widths. So some of the lines are very thin while others are more filled in and very thick. But I'm not sure. I was kind of rethinking the way that I did this while I was doing this nail because it was kind of difficult for me. I don't know. It wasn't coming out the way that I wanted to because I wanted it to come out like this nail that I did before, but it was coming out kind of different. But I just went ahead and trusted my gut. So I cured that, and finally I just grabbed this white gel and just patted a little line, making that foam you see at the beach, trying to add more detail to the shoreline, add more, beachy vibes, you could say. And after patting it in there and liking it, I cured it, and this is a close-up of that little nail. And I thought it was pretty cute. So moving on to my third nail, I'm using the same milky white. And so as you can see at the drawing that I made, I decided that I wanted the last 3 nails to be all water. So basically my idea that I had for this was that it's kind of like showing a scenery of going from sand to ocean type nail. That's why the first nail is only sand, while the second nail is like the shoreline, and then the remaining 3 nails is like the ocean. I don't know if you get the vision. Hopefully you do, trying to be creative and whatnot. But anywho, so I did the same steps. I cured the white base that I did on the nails, and I added some blooming gel on all 3 and just added my little dots, different shapes, different sizes to make the thing. I don't know. I think that I should have tried a different method to do these water nails, but I went ahead and did the same technique. And I was also rethinking and questioning whether I was doing it right or not, because they weren't coming out as the nail with the dolphin that I previously did. So here I did 2 layers of that. So my other 2 layers of dots, I just cut that part out, but they're already done. See right here, they kind of look like water, but they don't look like ocean water, if you know what I'm trying to say. It looks more like a pool. So I did the same thing, grabbed a medium liner and just started lining the shapes of the little circles and dots that I made. And here again, I was questioning myself during the process because it wasn't looking the way that I wanted it to look, but I just continued doing it, and it kind of came out okay. It still wasn't satisfying me because I wanted it to be like the nail that I did before, but honestly I feel like I have to go back and rewatch and remember what I did. But continuing with these nails, I just starting lining it as much as possible and just trusting the process along the way for these nails. Now getting to my final nail, I'm doing the same thing. Here I had an empty space, so I just decided to fill it in with white and cured that. So I'm using that little orange that I showed onto my middle nail, and I decided that I was gonna make a little starfish like on the drawing that I made. So when I tried making it right here, you could see that while I was making the star, it was very sheer, and it was, instead of looking like it was an orange, it was kind of giving green. I'm not gonna lie. As you can see, I'm gonna try to zoom in into it, but I did not like it. I knew that it was gonna take a lot of layers if I did it like this, and I don't know if it was gonna show up good. So I decided to wipe it off and start with a white instead. So I did my little triangle method of making an A and then making another line and then connecting those lines, the drill. So after making my little star, I decided to fill it in all white. And then of course I went ahead and cured it for like 60 seconds. Then I grabbed the same orange, and this time I decided to mix it with some rhinestone gel. Now I know that mixing things isn't recommended, but let's let it slide this one time, okay you guys? So I grabbed that, just add some texture and volume to it so it's not super flat. So I am lining it following the little white shape, so I'm trying not to get off the line and whatnot. So I did one layer of that, and then I decided to cure it, and I did a second layer of the same orange just so it looks more voluminous, you could say. You see right here, it looks pretty cute. And so then I grabbed a shade of darker orange, and with my dotting tool I just made some little dots right here just to give more texture to the starfish like I've seen on pictures and stuff. But yeah, I added those dots, and of course I honestly like to cure more than 30 seconds, and so this is what it ended up looking like. Now in the picture I drew that I wanted some like bubbles in the water. So for this I decided to add some clear caviar beads and just add it to the nail, and yeah, that's literally it. Okay, now moving on to my fourth nail. This I wanted to be a little more simple compared to the other nails that was like 3D. So I'm gonna show you a picture of like what inspired me for this nail. But I right here wanted to make some little flowers, pink flowers. So I just made 5 little dots, kind of using the same technique that I used on my previous video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. That's gonna be probably at the end of this video, or I don't know, on the screen. But anywho, I decided to then grab a liner brush and make thin lines at the center of the nail for the petals. And then after curing, I decided to add it. Well, it looked like this first. Then I decided to add some yellow in the center, some little yellow lines in the petals and in the center, so it gives it more like details and texture, you could say. But after having it the way that I wanted to, I added some golden caviar beads to the center of the flower, just look cute. And of course I added more clear caviar beads around. Now for my last nail, I decided that I was going to do again 3D. So I'm using this white building gel that I got off AliExpress. It's the same thing that I used on my last video. Again, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But it's kind of sticky, but I just decided to work with it just to finish it off and see what else I can do with this. Also mainly because when I work with my clear building gel, sometimes I can't really see what I'm doing, so I just went ahead and did this. I thought it was going to be easier to color it in later. So I did 5 equal sized little balls, and then I just decided to form them on the nail. So just place them where I thought that I wanted them to be, like, the petals and whatnot. So after adding them where I wanted them to, I grabbed my silicone tool and just started pressing down onto the nails. And as I was pressing down, I also decided to just start shaping them. So press down and then shape the way that you wanted to, and press down and shape the way that you wanted to. Now I didn't want these flowers to be short and round petals. I wanted it to be like the tropical flowers that I've been seeing online, having the petal be a little longer instead of like a circle, more like a tear shape. I don't know how to describe it, but I pressed down and shaped, and so at the end it's a skinny pointy end petal. Then I cured for like, I don't know, 60 seconds, and then I just went ahead and started painting this little flower yellow. Super vibrant color, and I really like it. I really like this one. Now using the same method as I did for the other flowers, I grabbed some orange and just started making some little as thin as I could get lines onto the petals, like in the middle of the petals and the center of the nail. Then I cured and added some little pearls to be at the center of my nail. Alright, now for the end of this, I decided that I was going to do my top coat at the end. Of course, you're not going to put any top coat on the acrylic powdered nails. So on the thumb, I'm not putting any on top. And right here, I'm only putting top coat on the blue part, the gel part, not the acrylic part. If you add it to the acrylic part, I think it's just gonna kill, the graininess like of sand, Alright, so I went ahead and did all my top coats, and oh my god, I was so happy doing this. At the end, it's so satisfying. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm finally done. But I went ahead and top coat as much as I could. It's my favorite part. I really like doing this nail set, or well, 5 nails, because it's not really a set. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was so much fun. I liked the end process, and it is honestly such a cute vibe for summer, especially the nails, like the sand nails. I thought that was so cool. I saw a video of it on Pinterest, I think, and then I was like, wait, maybe like make some words on it on the sand, but I thought that was like too much to add in one nail. So I just decided to go with, some footprints and a little sun and a starfish, like, in the water, in the ocean. I really liked this. I was honestly so happy on how it turned out. I honestly forgot about the issue that I was having with making the water nails in the first place. But let me know what you think about these nails. Let me know if you like them. Let me know if you would try to make some of the techniques that I used today. Let me know what you think. Let me know what was your favorite nail. And yeah, anything, comment, like, whatever. Just give me your thoughts. I would like to know. But this is the end result right here. I'm adding a little close up. I really like it. I'm a big fan of these. Honestly, I would love to do another sand nail or water nail or 3D nail. Honestly, just my favorite. This is one of my favorites. I can't stop repeating it. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what was your favorite nail, and just, yeah, have a good day, and leave a like, comment, or subscribe, whatever you want to do. So yeah, thank you and have a good day.